I remember reading in the New York Times that there was an estimation that maybe like 4 or 5% of the people on death row nationally were innocent. And
Yeah.
that's what if I have to ask you, what if there was a 4% crash rate of airplanes?
Right.
Do you think we'd keep flying them up there
Right.
and just taking the chance? I mean, I think we'd ground the damn thing, figure out what's causing it, make all necessary changes, and then cautiously, so applying that same lens and line of reasoning, when it comes to the death penalty, when it comes to wrongful convictions in general, it bothers me to no end that the causes of wrongful conviction are known: prosecutorial misconduct. Misidentifications cause wrongful conviction, 75% of the cases. Lying informants, 15%. Bad lawyering. It's not unusual for one public defender to represent 100 people at the same time.
Right.
The uneven financial playing field in terms of the budget between the public defender and the district attorney's office. So having an even playing field, so experts and investigators and manpower, equal pay for both sides, so the best talent doesn't go to one side or into private practice. When we think about that, and junk science and forensic fraud, which that was and the false confessions. I mean, some of these things, the bad lawyering, false confession, forensic fraud, all happened in my case. So my point in saying all of this is that the causes of wrongful conviction are known, but we don't see all the states and the federal government enact legislative reforms to address all of these concerns. Like having the prosecutorial commission is known, having better identification procedures. Those are already identified by social scientists, backed up by data. We know that in terms of false confessions, videotaping interrogations from beginning to end, camera focusing on both people, not having the deception, having rights explained to youth. We know what will false confession, expert testimony. We know what changes the changes that we need to address these deficiencies are known, but these are not enacted and codified into law. And so now, today, right now, here today, we're lulled into a false sense of security. We're so advanced technology, right? And we have DNA testing. This could never happen now, right? Well, yeah, it can. DNA is only around in 5 to 12% of all serious felony cases. So most cases cannot be resolved through DNA. Not 88% of them in the best case scenario. So all those deficiencies that have led to wrongful convictions in the past are still out there. Those deficiencies still exist now as a whole. So this could happen now as just like it did before. That's why I think, getting funding for organizations that are doing this work and trying to expand the donor base, we need more people to step forward, and this needs to be, this is a really big problem. Wrongful convictions is a really big problem, but I don't feel like it gets enough attention from the, as far as the private sphere and, people putting a ton of money into justice reform. I feel like mass incarceration is kind of stealing a lot of the oxygen out of the room, and funders need to think about organizations doing wrongful conviction and work. And we need to think also, if politicians of both political parties, they raise tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in what they refer to as small dollar donors, but why isn't that done for organizations freeing people, doing policy work? Why isn't the government? Why isn't this a huge priority for the government? Let's make the justice system more accurate. Per the National Registry of Exoneration, there's more than 3,100 exonerations from 1989 forward have happened across the country. And think about, we don't know how many people are wrongfully in prison. We can only count the exonerations, because if we could count the people who are not exonerated but wrongfully convicted, then we could get to them, we could help them, we could release them.
Right.
So I kind of believe it's kind of like a iceberg thing, where the part that you see above the surface is, is a fraction of the bigger of the bigger whole. There's different estimates. 5%, 2.5%, 1%, 0.5%. I think that all those estimations are lower. I now, at this point now, there's been, I want to say about 21 people that I did time with that were exonerated either before me or after me. That's in 16 years. So I think, and again, you can't count it. I think the percentage is between 15 to 20%. The anecdotal data seems to be
15 to 20%
of the inmate population are innocent. That would be my estimation.
Right. Okay.
Look, the anecdotal data seems to be flowing my way. It seems like every week we're seeing one or two people that are exonerated. But when you think about all the wrongful conviction causes, when one bad actor is like in New York, we had there's this detective named Scarcella in Brooklyn, and at this point, it's between like 13 to 17 cases that he worked on. People have been exonerated from. Just using it as an example of how one bad actor can influence scores of cases. In Illinois, mass exoneration day, right? They had 18 people who were exonerated. The former detective Guevara and his crew, and one day 18 people exonerated that they worked on. Another day 15, and they're still doing it. Using that as examples, again, one person affecting many cases. When you look at jurisdictions where a different district attorney takes office and has a real conviction review unit where they're proactively looking for people who are innocent. In Dallas, Craig Watkins, more than 40 people were exonerated in 8 years through his unit. Ken Thompson, the DA in Brooklyn before he passed away, 23 people exonerated, 2.5 years. Larry Krasner in Philadelphia, more than 20 people exonerated. But most places don't have those units where they're real. But my point in all of this is, if all that stuff was done across the board, how many more people would we get that would be discovered to have been wrongfully convicted? So all that in support of my non-scientific statement, I think is 15 to 20%, anecdotally. But even if it is just 0.5%, when you think about, 2.3, 2.4 million people enmeshed in the justice system one way or another, any figure you want to put on that and divide, that's still quite a lot of people. That's still quite a lot of people, is what my point is.
Yeah, and then, you have general, I think, human nature of a lot of people, too. Like a lot of these prosecutors and a lot of these police that, they just want to climb the ladder in the bureaucracy, right? They just, like people like Robert Mueller, for example, that just want promotions. They want to move up to the next level, and they want to get as many convictions as possible, as fast as they possibly can, so they can make more money. I mean, greed is, big. Greed is a huge factor. And then, combined with the fact that there's it's this entire giant machine, of the prison system in the United States is just this big machine, and there's automatically going to be a huge bycatch. A lot of people are going to fall in between the cracks, a lot of innocent people, because, I don't know what the stats are, but I know we have more people incarcerated per capita than any place else on earth.
Right.
So unless, I feel like it's got to be more of like, you got to go back to the foundation of the system and how it's built to sort of fix this problem, because we're not trying to fix the problem. We're not trying to find a cure for it. We're not trying to find a cure to, eliminating crime or murders or the drug problem. It's become an industry that makes money, and the people that are involved get corrupted one way or another. And it's, money's involved and careers are involved. And I think that sort of casts a large shadow over everything else. And then, also a lot of these people that are getting convicted are, they're not celebrities. They're people that nobody knows. So that's why nobody gives a shit.
Right.